I thank the gentleman for yielding. Mr. Speaker, this is really an incredible rule. What we have been hearing for the last year, and what we will be hearing shortly, is that the leadership here in the Congress thinks that we should make savage cuts in Medicare, force elderly people who don't have the money to pay more for premiums. Meanwhile, they are suggesting that we spend $13 billion more for the military than the president wants. Don't you think the American people are entitled to that debate on priorities? The Republican majority wants to savage Medicaid. 8 million people will no longer have health insurance. Children will be without health insurance. Elderly people will be unable to pay for their prescription drugs. Don't you think we should have a debate as to whether or not we cut military spending or we savage Medicaid? I think the American people want that debate. Maybe they'll agree with you. Maybe they think we should spend more money on Star Wars and B-2 bombers and less money on health care. Maybe you're right. I don't think you are, but I think that's a debate that we should have. Mr. Speaker, all over America, middle-class families are desperately, in Vermont, they're knocking their brains out trying to figure out how they can afford to send their kids to college. Meanwhile, the Republican leadership is cutting back on loans and grants. I think the American people, the middle class of this country, has a right to decide whether we put more money into education or whether we continue to spend $100 billion a year defending Europe and Asia against a non-existent enemy. Mr. Speaker, some of the cuts that have been advocated here by the Republican leadership are cruel. They're unnecessary. It seems to me that before we go after nutrition programs for children, we take a hard look at the military budget. We have a right to have that debate. Defeat this rule.
Gentleman's time has